Morning, everyone. Morning, guys. I'm going to try and see if I can brighten this up a bit. There we go. I've got the lights on now. I'm just going to give it a few minutes and see if there's a few more people that will join in. Just getting everything ready for our live work session today. Apologies for being a tiny bit late to the live stream. I'm still getting used to all the technical bits and pieces that go together. I am using my camera, so having to connect the camera with the laptop is proving to take a little more getting used to than usual, but I've got everything all hooked up. All the wires and cables are in place, and we are ready to go. I thought I'd just jump on live, see if there's anyone on YouTube at the moment. I'm thinking I'll get to work on a few scrunchies for our next website release. So, what we're doing today is similar to what we had done in our last live session. So, in the last live session, we worked on a giant bag of scrunchy tubes. Today, I've got another bag to work on. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Trisha. I am the owner of Golden Bottle Designs. We are a Sydney based hair accessory business. We are on YouTube to help record and share this business journey with you. So, if you're joining us for the very first time, or if you're someone that follows the journey, welcome. Don't forget to leave us a comment, say hi, let us know where you're from, and of course, if you enjoyed this sort of content, don't forget to give this live stream a thumbs up. It helps other like-minded people like you and me get to see this video, people that enjoy this kind of content. Hello. I guess it is evening in a lot of different parts of the world. It is nice and early for me today. It is just past 9:10 in the morning. So I've got a whole day of work scheduled. Let's see how far we go. Watching from Maryland, USA. Thank you so much for joining in. So, what sort of crafts do you spend time on? The crafty Puerto Rican is who we have here. Thanks for joining in. So, for those of you who don't know, my scrunchies, I make them in three different sizes, actually four. One's with the satin, it's just three at the moment, the extra large, the regular, and the skinnies. And I use the burrito method for every single one of them. I also have a mini scrunchie size, but I don't really offer that in my satin scrunchies unless it's a custom order. And what I've done is I've gone and done like a big batch sewing of a lot of them. I haven't had the opportunity to release some of the colors of satin scrunchies on the website. And I'm also doing a massive refresh of colors that we take to markets. We do markets almost every weekend, sometimes two during the weekend, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And I try and film a little content from the markets as well and share that on my YouTube channel. So I've done a whole batch of tubes using the burrito method. And today, what I'm going to do is try and work on flipping them the right side out. And if I've got a little time, I will also thread the elastic through them and get them prepped for finishing off. Morning, morning, everyone. Well, it's morning for us. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. We're based in Sydney, Australia. Let us know where you're from. How many of you do weekend markets? It'd be interesting to see a few stats and a few numbers. Do you enjoy doing markets if you do them? For me, markets are really enjoyable. I love being able to interact with customers that sometimes get to see our products for the very first time. And of course, it is a true privilege having repeat customers. So when people who have tried your products and love them come back, it's absolutely a fantastic feeling. So the last time we went on live, I did a bit of a Q&A session. Some of you had sent me some questions that we got answered. And I think we got around to answering most questions that were asked on that day. So if you've got any questions, if you'd like to share any thoughts, feel free to write them down, put them down in that little chat window, and we can see. I'll see if I have an answer for you. I will share that for you instantly, or we'll work on something to address them. So the last time we were on live stream, we spoke about artificial flowers, handmade flowers to be precise. And I'm just wondering how much interest there would be in tutorials for handmade flowers. So for those of you who don't know, a lifetime ago, I think, what seems like more than 12 years ago, I used to run a business that dealt with bridal flowers, wedding flowers, occasion flowers, flowers for occasions. This was back before we moved to Australia. I was in India at the time, and most weddings, most gatherings had flower arrangements. So these were either fabric flowers or paper flowers, mostly fabric. And we had a variety of flowers that we used to, or variety of materials rather, that we'd use for the flowers. So the last time around, we were chatting on how I actually got to the business, and some of you shared an interest in those flowers and would like me to do a few tutorials or at least show you a few things that I've made in the past. So if that's something that you'd enjoy watching, let me know and I can add a few tutorials as well. I've done flowers in a vast variety of mediums. So made flowers out of paper. I've done sugar craft as well. I've done a bit of clay modeling, so flowers made out of clay. But majority of the flowers that I've made have been fabric. I've always enjoyed being creative and making things. In fact, another thought that I had was I was thinking I would make a few flower pieces, hair accessories with flower pieces. I'd done a lot of flower crowns, that we used for photo shoots as photo shoot props. So I had a few photographers that would regularly come to me for photo prop ideas and orders rather. And we did a lot of stuff for that. We did a lot of stuff for bridesmaids, first Holy Communions, those kinds of things. So I was thinking I'd actually start offering that to my customer base over here as well. But I wouldn't make a whole bunch. I'd just make a few samples and get a few feelers out there. Because there's only so much you can do with scrunchies and headbands. So is it Joanna or is it Wana? I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name. Oh, fantastic. I work with embroidery, garment decoration using rhinestones, DTF, and sewing. I'm going to do a market at the end of August. I'm making some scrunchies and keychains. What sort of keychains are you making? Are you making the key fobs or something like with fabric and then embroidering or decorating them? Or are you doing the little motel keychains that are also getting very popular at the moment? For me, I often wonder when the scrunchy trend will start fading out and wonder not in the most pleasant of ways because one of my best sellers to date is still scrunchies. But then every once in a while, I'll go to a market where the headbands do a lot better, scrunchies not so much. And then I wonder if that's sort of the end of the line for scrunchies. And then the very next market I go to, scrunchies will be back up into the bestseller category again. So yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster ride, which is why I want to try and sort of expand the offerings that we have. I don't want to get caught out where one fine day people realize that scrunchies they're done with, and for me to then scramble to figure out what else to do, I don't want to be in that position. So I'm looking at a few other options, and that's the thing with product trends, I guess. Things go in and out of fashion so frequently. We've started making bow clips as well because that's what's trending at the moment. I've got a couple of new launches coming up of brand new products that we've never offered before. So that I'm going to stagger across August and potentially September. I'm not quite going to share what that is right now, but you will see behind the scenes footage and all of that before the product gets launched. So you'll soon catch on to see what I'm up to. Oh, fantastic. It's your first market. Are you excited? I was so nervous when I did my first market. I didn't know what to expect, but it was so much of fun. You probably already know this from all of your research, but a few tips. Load your car if you're taking your stuff in a car to the venue, load the car the previous day, make a checklist of all the things that you think you'll need. So envision your setup or do a practice setup before the day and make a note of all the things you need so that you know you've taken everything. And this way, I feel it just eliminates a lot of market day stress. And you can focus on setting up your booth just the way you like it. Make sure to make it there in plenty of time the first time around. And eventually, it does get easier. Remember, enjoy the day. It is a lot of fun. We tend to put a lot of pressure on ourselves because there's a number of reasons. I know I do. I focus and I sweat all the small stuff. I want everything to be perfect. But the truth of the matter is, it's life. Not everything's always perfect. And that's the best combination, excited and scared. You'll do well. Don't worry about it. Is your stock ready for the market? Are you still working on stock? For me, I find that I'm always working on stock till the very last minute. And usually, what happens is if I stay awake the night before trying to finish something, like if I'm late and stay awake late, none of those products sell the very next day. And it's happened more than once. So I've learned now and I do what I can to kind of make up my stock, but I don't sweat it. I don't sit till the wee hours of morning to whip up things because I've sort of learned. Hi, Magda from Tasmania. Hello. How cold is it in Tassie at the moment? Hi, Janie. Nice to see you guys here. So I usually don't make this from Texas. Brilliant. So we've got Texas in the house, we've got Maryland in the house. I usually don't make these many pieces per color, but black is one of the most popular colors and tends to sell out really fast. So I'm making a massive batch that way. I've got some at least for the next couple of weeks and some for the website. And that way, it gives me a little time to do my next catch up. And I found that worked really well for me last year during the holiday season as well. Make up a slightly bigger batch of one item. So, say between my headbands and my scrunchies, one week I'd work on one type of scrunchies at least, like a satin or the novelty ones, the tulle ones, and such. And what that meant is I had enough for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So I could spend the next week focusing on headbands or on something or the other. Oh, that's not too bad. It is a bit warmer. Brilliant. Test out that canopy and tent so that you know what to expect. And don't worry about Square. It is a really easy system to use. I would just recommend testing it out before you go to the market. Do like a test transaction. And what I do is the day that on the day of the market, I usually just in the morning connect the reader, the little Square reader, to the app because sometimes there are updates and sometimes the Square updates can be really long. I did one of the first few markets that I'd done was for a business before prior to this. And one of my neighboring vendors had not done that. So as soon as she went to kind of connect the Square reader and take the first payment, she realized there was an update. And I kid you not, that update took about 20 to 24 minutes. She was so stressed out on the day off. So after that happened to her, I knew for a fact that I was going to connect my little device to the app every morning, at least on market days, to make sure that whatever updates had to run I could do that in the background while I was having breakfast or packing for the day and so on. So yeah, I mean, I guess there is a little more work if you're adding your catalog to Square. I know a lot of people do that. I don't simply because The designs and prints that we offer are so many. So, for example, my novelty scrunchies, the ones that go on the big board, if you've seen my market setup, there's 70 over there. There's another 35 satin scrunchies in three different sizes. In addition to that, I've got the swim scrunchies. I've got, I don't know how many headbands. I think 40 go on that little white display, the Y headbands, plus a lot of them go on the dowels. So if I were to sit and update my catalog for every market, I think I wouldn't have time to make any stock, honestly. And for me, the prints keep changing and they change quite frequently. So I opt out of that adding a catalog system. Whether I'm doing the right thing or not, I don't know. But what I'm doing now works for me. It keeps things simple, it keeps things easy. You don't really want that added stress when it comes to markets. Hi, Josephine. Nice to see you again. It's probably evening where you are as well, isn't it? Wow, that's late. It's 9:29, so almost 9:30 in the morning at the moment. And I have my next batch of scrunchies all sewn up. And I thought I'd spend a little time at a slightly different time slot of the day so that those of you who can't join the live in the evening can at least make it to the one that I have in the morning. So here we are. Yeah. I use my phone. I don't carry my tablet because one, it occupies more space on the table. It's one more thing to worry about. My phone I always have on me. So it's actually everything. I do everything on the phone. When I say everything, I mean just entering the final transaction figure and then the customer taps on the little device. I know that you can now set up your phone to receive payments as well. I guess it's a good backup, but I've heard that people that use Apple Pay and use other devices to pay, sometimes the phone doesn't recognize that. I just prefer having the little square device and the phone's always there as a backup if needed. But I've never had any trouble with my square device, touchwood. So I'm really lucky as far as that's concerned. Out of curiosity, question for you. Is green a popular color where you are at the moment? For my business, I went through a phase where um, mustards and rusts were really popular. And surprisingly enough, it was not during autumn and fall. It was just at the most random time of the year. And all of a sudden, green has gotten really popular in the last couple of months. So, irrespective of what it is, whether it's a headband or a scrunchie, greens are really, really popular at the moment. I checked your website today to write your email and really love your pretty new pose. Oh, thank you. Just bought some green pants. I did too. That was towards the end of summer. It was really hot, and I ended up buying this beautiful pair of linen trousers that I thought would work really well for markets. And then it got cold all of a sudden, so I haven't had an opportunity to wear them yet. But on the flip side, I'll have them for this summer. I am not looking forward to summer markets. I don't mind spring, I don't mind fall, but really hot summer days. I'd rather have the cold winter months than the hot summer days because the heat takes it out of me. I'm not a fan of super hot days. I don't mind the summer, I love the sun, but some days it's just extreme, especially closer to Christmas for us. And that's something I've spent a lot. I've been born and brought up in the northern hemisphere, so I've always been used to a cooler Christmas. Um, Agreed, in Mumbai, you don't really get too much of a winter, but it is still cooler compared to the rest of the year. Now, I've been in Australia for, I think, 12 years now, 11 to 12 years. And I still can't wrap my head around having a warmer Christmas. Beige or green, one of my favorite colors all year round. Christmas is one of the busiest times of the year for me, but I actually want to, like I was telling you the last time, I want to spend some time visiting the Christmas markets around Europe. So I'll have to work something out, maybe wind up my market season a tiny bit earlier and head over, see the sights during Christmas. I love the cold. You should see me going to markets during the hot summer days. I have a freezer bag full of bottles. So I have a couple of bottles of water. There'll be usually a little coffee, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. It really depends on how hot the day is going to be. I usually pack some iced tea. Sometimes I also take along a can of a soda or something. That's very rare, but sometimes I do that. Sometimes I make a fresh lemonade at home. So there's a bag just full of drinks. I really don't care much about snacking and food during the summer months, but give me all the cold drinks and I'm a happy camper. I've just gotten hooked on to Thai tea. So I can't wait to bring that to markets this summer. I love that addition, that slight hint of vanilla. I'm not a big tea drinker. I drink iced tea, so sweet tea, yes. Um, a Long Island iced tea. You don't have to bend my arm. I enjoy that as well. But when it comes to actually hot tea, not a very big fan. I do drink one cup of tea every evening. So early evening is when I have my cup of tea. And that's pretty much it. But after we went to this Thai place here in Sydney and I tried the black iced tea, I was, oh my God, I was blown away. So I actually did a little bit of research, went and bought a packet of the mix and tried making it at home. And a couple of tries later, I've actually managed to get the proportions just right. And I'm so excited. Of course, it is cold now, so I don't really have too much of it. I think those temperatures, yeah, I was born and raised in the Caribbean, so winter is not my favorite. But this year, the US has been experiencing very high temperatures. I think that's happening all over the world, really. Here in Sydney as well, we have our summers are not too bad, but if we're going through a heat wave, those days are absolutely killer, and we seem to be having a few more of them every year. Not sure whether that's happening in other areas in Australia as well, but I know from family back in India, I've got family in the States as well, and I've got friends in Canada, and everyone seems to say the weather's getting a tiny bit more extreme. So the hotter days of summer kind of there's a few more really hot days, and winters either are not too cold, not as cold as they usually are, or extreme winters happening. And I guess that's climate change in the mix. But would like winter in Launceston, Tassie. I get the frost at 5 p.m. at the Avondale Sunday Market. We need to cover the stock with plastic till about 8 a.m. So do you set up the previous day? Is that what you mean? Or does it run across multiple days? For me, I do night markets. Don't do them very often because it's really hard to get in. Apparently, my category tends to fill out. Even though there's no one that does the kind of headbands that I do, just because scrunchies are on the offer, I get knocked into that same bracket. And I've been finding it increasingly hard to get into that market. But when I do the night markets, the dew during winter is phenomenal. Everything feels cold and damp to the touch. But I found that if I kind of just scooch my items just a tiny bit inwards, it helps a bit. But I'm also considering getting the walls that are, the tent walls that are sort of half clear, so it won't restrict the flow of light and such, but it'll keep dew out and keep my things from getting damp and wet. It is very refreshing. I absolutely love it. And I like that I can adjust the sweetness to my preference. I don't like things that are extremely sweet, at least my drinks. So I do like them sweet, just not too sweet. Yeah, it's insane. That being said, I've been accepted to one early August, so first Saturday in August, but that's a local one for me, so it's not too far. And that market usually, that location usually does pretty well for me, so I don't mind going to that one. I was extremely skeptical of doing twilight markets because of the whole lighting element, but I was very lucky. The lights that I found were they work really well. But I'm just looking at ways that I can kind of make things a little more aesthetic and a little more cute for this oncoming market season. So I've got two. I think I've shown you that in my Twilight Market setups. Two sets of lights that actually clamp onto the frame of the tent. One was from Bunnings, our local hardware store, and one, surprisingly enough, I found at Kmart. It was on clearance, I think, in the camping section. I got it for an absolute bargain, but both of them work so well. I've never had a problem with them dying out on me. So I charged them the day before the market or morning off, and it lasts me the entire evening. So, with that aspect sorted out, I'm now more open to doing the evening ones. Just that during the winter months, I don't take on too many of these twilight markets because it gets really, really cold. And like I said, things get damp-ish. And if I don't have a market the next morning, I don't like the idea of things sitting damp or me having to sit and dry everything out before putting them away. Oh my gosh, that is the absolute worst. Getting caught in the rain, I absolutely dread that. I have to actually look at a solution for my gazebo, the tent on top, the cover. When I first bought the tent, the cover that it comes in has wheels. And I think we were in a massive hurry one day loading the car. I kind of dragged the canopy on the wrong side of the carrier. So, what that did was it kind of scraped the little portions that were in contact with the floor. So, what that's done is it's created little scratches on the awning. So, raining, if it's really, really raining, like not a light drizzle, I have a few droplets coming through. So I now either have to look at buying a replacement awning, which interestingly enough, I did do a little research and it is almost as expensive as buying a second gazebo itself. Oh, hello. Hi, Ohio. Thank you so much. And it's on every Sunday. We get there 5:30 when we get there. Also do the alternative market Launceston every second Sunday. It's in a whole great group of vendors. Such a fun market. Yeah. So we did a little bit of research and I came across the spray that's supposed to reinforce or rather protect, repel water. So I'm going to try using that. I've been very, very fortunate. I've not had too many rainy days. I've had a few windy ones at market, but not too much of rain. I think I've had rain this after setting up just a couple of times, Yeah, I think two times, and it was not fun. So another thing that I'm on the lookout for is clear sheets that I can just lay on top of the products during the rain, or even that'll be perfect for night markets as well to keep everything nice and dry, and people can just have a look at it. It's not. I guess I can tape it, but it's not that. I'm not sure how well the tape will deal with the water, but I'm looking forward to that waterproof spray on. I'll let you guys know how it goes if it makes a difference. I think that will hold much better. I want to give the whole canopy a coat of it. But even if I had to replace the gazebo, I wouldn't be too mad about it. This one's worked really well for us. And what it then does is it also gives me the opportunity when it comes closer to the busy season to have the option of having um, like a double booth setup. Yeah, my tent came with one wall plan to order two additional walls just in case it rains. We didn't get any walls with our tent. It was literally the frame and the tent, the roof of the tent. I bought my weights separately and I bought the walls separately as well. Has anyone found like creams and beiges and whites also really popular around now? For me, suddenly the lighter colors have also started taking off. At one point, no one wanted things with a white background because I guess they look messy easier than other darker colors. They get dirty easier as well. But whites and off whites have been another popular color at the moment. So the bows that I've taken to markets, all the white ones and the off-white ones sold so fast. I haven't gotten around to restocking that. Maybe a little later during the week I will do that because I know this market that I'm doing on Saturday, the demographic that comes to this market tends to like that kind of product. So I'm taking a few whites. I will whip up a few more bows and see how I go, at least in these colors. I guess whites and beiges are more versatile. You can use them with a lot more outfits, possibly, which is why they're getting more popular. Maybe it's a trend and I don't know about it. I'm usually pretty late to the party when it comes to trends. Do any of you use TikTok for your businesses? I'm just going to move these out of the way. This year, we only have had 2 Sundays of rain. I don't go when it rains. We have mesh for windy days. Hi, Divya. Yes, I am on earlier this morning. Like I was just saying a little while ago, the last time we did the live, it was in the evening. And I know a lot of folks had to go to work that it was morning in the other half of the world. So people were getting ready to go to work, run errands, work on their own products and such. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of switch it up and give you the opportunity of catching the live stream at a slightly different time. Bye bye. Thanks for joining, Josephine. Sleep well. Yes, see, with TikTok, the thing is, I try really hard. I definitely post at least once a week, but I just can't find any traction there, not at the moment. A few videos do pretty decently, but then there'll be weeks of like nothing. So what I've done is I've actually done a Christmas in July sort of series. We had a we had an advent calendar box last Christmas, a scrunchy advent calendar. And it was my first time doing it, so I was still kind of wrapping my head around it. I have worked on a stationary one before, but that was a long time ago. So I did not at that point share like an opening of the product every day. So day one, day two, opening the little packets. I kept the same product. So day one had the same product in all of the boxes. Similar with day two, it was not a box where I just sort of winged it and put whatever came to hand. So it was pretty well thought of. It was a lot of work. I sold a couple, not as many as I would have liked, but that's all my fault. It's because I did not push on social media as early as I should have. But anyway, what I'm doing is like a Christmas in July sort of thing where I'm showing a little unboxing of some of the scrunchies that were part of that advent calendar. That's been doing all right. That's been keeping me pretty accountable. Today, in fact, would be, I guess, the last day of that little series. So I'm thinking of ideas to post next. I kind of got on a little bit of a, they say you have to post every day. Some people say you have to post 3 times a day. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have that kind of time. I find being on socials is so stressful. It is sometimes. I'm not on the TikTok train either. FB and Insta are hard enough. I use clips of my YouTube videos to create the TikTok reel. I tried doing that. I guess I should give that another go. I did it for a couple of short form videos, but I found that was just, I don't know, I found it a little challenging, but I guess with a little practice, it would get easier. I did not know you had a YouTube channel. I should catch your channel sometime. Is your channel called the same as your username, the Crafty Puerto Rican? Yeah, so social media for me. So I've been focusing on TikTok and Instagram's feeling a little left out at the moment. But I'm going to spend a little time, maybe later today or tomorrow, and kind of batch prep a few short form videos for both. But that portrait content is suited better for Insta and TikTok. I tell you, it's like health advice, right? One moment they'll tell you to eat a certain something that it's so healthy for you. A few years later, they'll tell you that that very thing has been so detrimental for your health. And then a few years later, they'll flip on that again. It's the same thing I find with a lot of the social media gurus. One will say one thing, then they'll change it all up and say, oh, TikTok is promoting um, content that's filmed in landscape and not portrait. So try that. They're trying to push out a new feature. And then again, someone will say something to contradict that very same thing. So I just do what I sort of think people will enjoy and hope for the best. And I guess that's why I'm not growing too well on social media. Oh, great. I will check out both TikTok as well as YouTube, the Crafty Puerto Rican. I really enjoy watching content from other small businesses. What is a good wire to use? Are you talking about the wire headbands? I've used a bunch of different wires in the past. Some of them are craft wires, but they all have different looks and feels. I've had a lot of people ask me what gauge of wire I use at the moment. I The wire that I use doesn't have a specific gauge. I guess ultimately it comes down to the feel that you prefer. Um, I have tried kind of looking at other crafters' recommendations, and none of those have worked out for me. At least personally, I did not like the feel of those wires. So, one thing I would recommend is just try out a few options, see what feel you like, and only then you'd be able to kind of see what wire works best. Good morning, Deborah. Don't like the look of landscape. I don't either, but I just stick with the portrait form. But if you use, it depends on the editing software that you use. So there is the one that I use is just the free one that comes with the MacBook. It's the iMovie, and you can actually convert landscape to portrait pretty. It's not that hard to do it. It does take a little bit of work. So just to give you an idea, I have when I was testing out my headbands, I went to Spotlight. They have a few varieties of wire. I also went to my local dollar shop. They have some wire too. And I also ended up buying some wire from an atelier, a millinery supplies company. And all three wires have their own pros and cons. So it just boils down to, I guess, what you're comfortable with. Have a look online and see, or if you have some millinery supplies closer to where you are, check out the wire they offer also, because that gives you a slightly different feel from the craft wire that is available at the craft stores. Ronnie's. I haven't actually. I do have a couple of Ronnie's outlets pretty close to where I am. I think I picked up one batch of wire that I used at one point was from Red Dollar. I think that's what it's called. That was a pretty good wire. Does anyone buy fabric online? I am so eager to try a few different fabric shops. I mean, Spotlight, it's great to have that option. And I do like some of the options that Spotlight offers. But I'm always on the hunt for a new fabric spot that I can go and browse. I found one quilting, I think it was Hobby Sew, or was it? I can't remember. I think it was Hobby Sew in Penrith, and they had such a gorgeous selection of fabric. But a lot of the fabric that I liked was so expensive. And honestly, to make scrunchies, I just couldn't justify that kind of price point. Love looking at different prints and textures. What sort of products do you make, Divya? Was it you that made the mugs and things like that? Ceramics or pottery? Sorry, I can't remember from last time. Someone I met shopping at Spotlight once pointed me to fabric shops in Cabramatta in Sydney. Oh, yeah, that's right. What's your business called? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, I'd love to follow along. I enjoy watching other small businesses. A couple of my current favorites are Fauna Rose, Megan's in the UK. I enjoy watching her channel from Amazon a couple of times. A while ago, it was okay. What's really sad is the kind of options that we have on Amazon in Australia. Very different from what options Amazon has in the rest of the world. I recently went and spent a couple of months in India. It was over the last Christmas and Jan period. And Amazon India has so much more variety, and you can literally everything you can possibly think of is available on Amazon India. However, here I somehow find that for things like fabrics and craft supplies, Amazon's pretty much like AliExpress. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I wouldn't, honestly, would not buy fabric from there. I keep looking though, hoping that a new business will pop up that I can support. It is, it is. It's shockingly expensive. There are a few things that you will get there that are good value for money, but it's just not the same. Oh yeah, I have bought from Spoonflower in the past. They have some great options, but our forex rates are so ah, interesting. I think I'll just leave it at that. Interesting at the moment. The Aussie dollar, I'll be spending a lot more on fabric buying from Spoonflower than otherwise. I kind of wait for them to go on sale, and then if there's something that I really, really want, I pick it up then. But I love some of the prints that Spoonflower offers through its the artists that it collaborates with. I have always wanted to go to Joanne's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I've only ever heard of these, never been there. Buy most of my supplies and equipment from Amazon. I know a lot of small businesses or businesses even based in the US do that. And even in Europe, you guys have a lot of options on Amazon, way more than what we have. I'm actually thinking of doing a series. It will be a very, very long game, but I'm thinking of doing a series of videos on fabric shops from different places that I go to. I know I could have done this when I went on my last trip to India, but I just did not have the opportunity. I did get a few little clips, but over there it can be very challenging to get video footage and even photographs. Not every shop is as open about it or welcoming to that idea. The Craft Angel and Quirky Desi on FB and leave me some love. I will, I will. I'll go through all of these and definitely check you out. Check out your business at least. Love Hobby Lobby and Joanne's. I was there a couple of hours ago. Oh, you lucky duck. I look at all of the options and some of the fabrics that I work with. There's so many beautiful prints and variants over there that I just can't get my hands on here. Sometimes I think I might just have to plan a trip to the US just to get the fabric that I want. How economical that would be for me, I don't know, but at least I get to visit family while I'm at it, I guess. Have any of you been to Mood Fabrics in the US? I've heard a lot of good things about Mood as well. I'm just not sure about the kind of. I went absolutely bonkers on our US trips. Ross, Marshalls, Michael's, Dollar Tree. I bought way too much. I think that's what all of us are guilty of. Singapore. Oh, really? Hobby Lobby is a bit far from me, about 45 minutes. Joanne's is about 15. Joanne's got sold out now, and the new owners changed the name to Joanne. Really? Oh, I guess because a while ago in Australia, you could actually purchase from Joanne's, and they had a worldwide shipping sort of option. Only thing was, for me, I'm a little hesitant to get some of the fabrics before I can have a feel of them. But I decided to bite the bullet recently and went online to purchase from them. and they had stopped shipping worldwide. And I was wondering what went on. So the change of ownership probably had something to do with it, Joe. And I don't know how I feel about the name, but as long as they don't run that chain into the ground, that'd be great. I've been to Mood in New York. How was Mood? How did you find Mood? Sorry, Magda, coming back to you, Singapore. Do you do a lot of your fabric shopping there? And if you could give me some pointers, that'd be fantastic. Because we use Singapore Airlines pretty often, and that usually means we have layovers in Singapore while traveling on to Asia, to India rather. And if I have a few hours there, I'd love the opportunity to be able to duck out and have a look at some of the fabric shops. We did that this last trip. We kind of spent the day in Hong Kong, not out of our own choosing. Our flights were delayed and then cancelled. So Cathay gave us like a one night accommodation at a transit hotel. And we were able to walk out, go have a look around in Hong Kong. We'd been there for a few months. My husband was working there for a few months, a few years ago, 10 years ago, I think. So we were sort of familiar with the area. It was nice to go visit the old stomping grounds, have a look at how much it has changed in the last few years. Way more inexpensive to buy craft supplies in the States compared to here. That seems to be the case for a lot of things, Divya. I don't know. We seem to be paying a premium for everything without getting a lot of the options that are available in the US, and that's just how it is at the moment. My hobby business is either going to be indulgence, bandanas, and bows, or puppy and me can't decide. I make bandanas, bows, and scrunchies. Opinions on names appreciated. Deborah, I wish I could help you. Of all the business things to do, finding a name is probably one of my least favorite things. It took me so long, and I'm terrible at it. I, like you can see from my business name, I stuck with something that I was really hooked on at that point. So I was obsessed with golden wattles at one point because I'd never seen them before. I just found them so pretty. I think I spent a couple of months thinking about a name, and oh my God, it was shocking. So if any of you here can help Deborah out with her name situation, just leave a comment in that little chat section. Let's help each other out. Mood is amazing. They have so much variety, bit expensive though. My Facebook is indulgence, bandanas, and bows. Yeah, for me, that naming convention is always the hardest. Even thinking up names to call individual prints, oh my God, does my head in. In the past, I stuck with just colors and prints, but there's only so many things that you can call a floral print. So I have sort of moved away with the last couple of launches I've done. I've kind of stuck with names, calling each floral print or each print a separate name. And I think that works a tiny bit better. Uh, Little India. I've seen a few videos on that too. And I think right next to Little India, there is a massive, from what I've seen, there is a massive place that another shopping mall that does fabric as well. I do like so much fabric. I get a lot of my material from them. Are they Tassie based? So, Divya, maybe you can help Deborah out. I like both. Puppy and Me is really cute. If you tend to sell a lot of pet related items or dog related items as well, that would be really nice. Another place that I really want to go and check fabric out is Mipori in Tokyo. I've seen so many videos on the fabric available there. In fact, I actually once did a whole. I look for fabric hauls on YouTube, and I have so much of fun just checking out the kind of fabrics and the prints that other people buy. Does anyone else do that? Okay, I will have to check them out. Has anyone started prepping for the Christmas season yet? For Golden Bottle Designs, this business, no, Divya, but in the past I used to have another stationery based business, and one of my products was sourced from a vendor that I found on there. But it's something I don't really enjoy too much because there's a lot of unknowns, and I mean, I guess I haven't really found the need for it just yet. But I guess if I am really hard pressed to find something that I can't find locally, I probably might, but not at this point. Southeast Queensland. No, I haven't checked those out yet. I haven't checked them out. In fact, I think I found one website called East Coast Fabrics that had a few fabrics that I was quite interested in checking out. I find that hanging tea towels are selling well, to my dismay, as I did think it would do well. I'm so behind. I'm researching different fall and Xmas files for my embroidery. Do you have an embroidery machine or do you hand embroider stuff? I have sourced a few Christmas fabrics, and that too was not this year. That was at the end of last year, after Christmas, as a matter of fact. I got a couple of prints that I thought would work well, prints that were not out on display in Spotlight before Christmas. So I think I picked them up on clearance. How do you all go about selling licensed material or ribbons at markets and online? I stay away from anything that's licensed. There was one fabric that I purchased that had like the Pusheen character on it. At the time, I had no idea. And when I took those to markets, I had a couple of young girls come up and say, "Oh, Pusheen, I love Pusheen," and that's how I knew. That's how out of touch I am with that kind of stuff. But as far as I can help it, I stay away from the licensed stuff. I just don't think it's worth the trouble that you can possibly get into. I've heard a lot of nightmarish stories from the US about folks that have used even names to tag their products. So if you tag a particular product that is inspired by, let's say, Disney, and call it by that name. So let's say if you have a bow inspired by the colors in Snow White's outfit, and you say Snow White inspired or Disney princess or whatever, I've I know a lot of folks do it. And I mean, I guess that's a decision that's completely up to you, but I wouldn't. I've heard of loads of nightmares where they've actually gone after businesses have gone bankrupt. I can't be bothered with the amount of legal bother get that could potentially get me into. So I just stay away from it. Gotta go, ladies. Unfortunately, need to get the dishes done before I sit down to work. Sigh, crafting forever housework. Bye bye, Divya. Thanks so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. I have a 10 needle embroidery machine and a single needle embroidery machine. Oh, that is nice. So much fabric, have some beautiful Christmas fabrics. They do pre order. No, I put fabric on it. If you look at a Christmas home affairs, Christine's home affairs, she has a tutorial. I don't do licensed stuff. I never use licensed characters. Let's see what close your shop permanently. Yep. Hi, Nakia. Yeah. A lot of businesses even go after the big guns, that is your Disney and such. But I don't. I'm a chicken when it comes to things like that. And it's not just I don't have the guts to do it. The way I see it is, it's not my property intellectually. Those designs, those characters, it's not mine. So how can you use or how can you profit of something that's not yours? But that's just the way I think of it. I know a lot of people, even locally, when you go to markets, you see a lot of licensed stuff there. Not sure if I want to go down that way. I'm pretty sure I don't actually. Yeah, me either. And what's amazing is you'll notice I've had vendors just right next to my setup in the past, so neighboring booths that have done a lot of Disney stuff and all your popular anime characters and such. And they go actually gangbusters when it comes to sales. Yep, don't want to lose my house over a bow. Me either. I feel the exact same way. So I'll stick with the prints that I know and colors that I know and love. So Christmas prep, how's everyone coming along? I can't believe it's almost August. July is almost over. It is shocking. And I know that once September, October sort of comes around, before I know it, it will be December. Like last year, I think I've mentioned this in some of my videos as well. I did a massive batch like this of satin scrunchies in September, just to sort of kind of get ahead of the Christmas prep because satin scrunchies are popular throughout the year. And while that did help me out a bunch, I have a lot. I had a big batch of fabric, rather scrunchies to fall back on during the busy season. This year has gotten a tiny bit busier for me, which is why I'm doing this even earlier in advance. So I know at least it. This will not last me, mind you. This won't last me till Christmas comes around, but it will give me that little buffer of time to prep other things, and it works well into my schedule. So one week I'll do scrunchies, another week I'll probably do headbands, a third week I'll do bows. This year I've got bows as well, which I didn't have last year. So that's one more item to account for. I have picked up a whole bunch of red and green fabric. So when I picked up the last lot of satin last Christmas, greens went crazy. I sold out of greens so fast, and that particular green was something that I had sourced from overseas, and I didn't have access to that particular shade, and I was so mad about it. So this time, earlier in the year when we went away, I ended up buying like a whole bunch of red and green satin. I've got some polka dots as well in both. So I'm hoping to do like a massive batch of things that I will need for the Christmas season, bows as well, just a little bit in advance, at least little bits of prep. That way, come December or rather even come October, I'm not pulling my hair out. I know I have to soon decide whether I want to do an advent calendar this year again or not. I am not 100% sure. It was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. Just got my new order of Christmas fabric and it's pretty. I just sit and take it all in. Oh, is this a lot that you got from So Much Fabric? People love satin scrunchies. They do. I'm trying to groom a dog and have conversations on your chat. Way to go, multitasking. I have to check them out now. Do they have satins as well, or is it mostly cottons and prints, rayons and such? I find good satin really hard to find, and it's probably a personal preference, but I hate the Semco satin that is currently available at Spotlight. Their deluxe satin is fabulous. I use that all the time, but the Semco satin just doesn't feel right to me. Cool, I will check them out. It feels cheap, it is cheap, but it also, when you compare the feel of different satins, to me, at least for what I make for the scrunchies, I really don't think I would enjoy that sort of feeling. Let's see. Someone recommended that I check out some fabric shops in Cabramatta, like I was saying earlier. So we actually did a little bit of a trip there a few weekends ago on a Saturday. I think it was a Saturday. And I went to one fabric shop. I was just so overwhelmed. It was a new place. There was so many people about. It was a little bit. I was there was a lot of over stimulation, and I went to one fabric shop. There was no place to walk in that shop. So anywhere I went in, trying not to trip over bolts of fabric. That's how packed it was. It was so ridiculously priced. They had fabric there that ran into $200 and $300 a meter. I could not believe my eyes. It was good lace, it was gorgeous lace, gorgeous sequins. But I was thinking to myself, I'm actually no suppliers of this fabric that could do so well when it comes to that. But anyway, I wouldn't spend $200 or even anything close, even in satin fabric. And when I spoke to the lady that owned the place, she asked me what sort of fabric I was looking for. So I told her I was looking for satin, not bridal satin, but not the really cheap satin either. And I don't think she was very impressed with my idea or my answer. I was kind of left to my own devices, and so I just walked out of that shop. But I am thinking of going back again and venturing into the little shopping centers that they have near the train station and seeing what else is available. I have a hard time finding good satin fabric even at Joann's. The only thing is the Semco have. They do. Semco has such gorgeous colors. I hate the fabric though. I don't know why satin is so hard to find. I really don't. There was a time, right, in India, satin was really, really popular. I think it still probably might be to this day. So if you look at a lot of clothing options, I'm talking about 12 years ago because that's when we left, right? A lot of clothes were sewn. So we actually had seamstress and tailor shops that you could go to get garments stitched. And it was so economically priced compared to buying something that was ready made. And the beauty of it is that you could get something that was tailor made for you, unlike buying something off the rack and then rocking up to maybe church, maybe a party one day and seeing someone else wear the exact same thing that you picked up a few days ago. So tailored garments were all the rage, at least back then. And you had access to the most gorgeous satin. So many types of satin. So this time when I went to India, I didn't go back to Bombay. That's where I've been born and brought up. Didn't go back to Bombay to I just went. We sadly had a my husband's cousin passed away while I was there, so we went for one day for the funeral. I was in Goa at that point, spent most of my time in Goa, but yes, we did go for one day. And the places that I used to go to for satin just didn't have the kind of satin that I they used to at one point. So that was disappointing. But I'm hoping when I go there next to spend a few more days so that I can actually check out satin options, because I know they have fabulous, fabulous colors as well as options of in terms of thickness. A lot of the colors that I actually have on my scrunchy satin scrunchy board are actually from there. So, which brings me to my next question. If I were to do, if I were to buy a bulk batch of satin in different colors, maybe seasonal, so, or maybe even have like a running collection, get more reds and greens mid-year just in time for Christmas, get the fall colors like a little beforehand. Would you guys be interested in purchasing satin from me by the meter? Because if I go there, I'm pretty sure I'm going to find what I'm looking for. I just have to check out a few more options. There is one bridal shop that we went to the last time I was there, and I got the most beautiful colors. They're a slightly thicker satin than the deluxe satin that you get at Spotlight, and they're so much better than Semco. Um, I got so much beautiful. The If you've seen that little display of mine, all the pastel colors. So the pastel, I think the green, the sagey green that I have, the lavender that I have, a lot of the darker colors as well is from my last trip. When I say my last trip, my trip prior, actually, when I went to Mumbai and actually picked up my fabrics from there. It was from a bridal shop, and they were beautiful fabrics. Just that they're a little bit heavier, but they tend to sell just the same. In fact, people get drawn to the colors, and after having a look and feel of the different types of satin on my board, there's a few different. I think there's about 3 or 4 different types of satin that I have on the board at the one time. They don't hesitate to pick that fabric up. So if that's something you might be interested in, let me know, and I will look at probably doing a maybe a pre-order or something, or get fabric here that you can then purchase from me eventually. The lace as well that I picked up from there was absolutely fabulous. So the lace bows that I've done are from fabrics that I've picked up from that same shop. I haven't checked Hobby Lobby, but usually Joann's carry more fabric options. Maybe you could open an online satin fabric shop. I was thinking of that. It's just that currently I don't have the space, but it's something that I would absolutely love to do, because I mean, the kind of fabric that I look for, I just can't seem to find anywhere. So maybe I will do a little bit of something for next year or later in the year if I have the time. Not 100% sure. My father-in-law is not doing too well at the moment, so we may have another trip. We may have to book in another trip soon. Won't be a very long one, of course. We just need to go so that my husband can go and spend some time with his father, and we can spend time with family. But yeah, if I end up doing that, it'll be before Christmas. If not, it will probably be early next year. But I am thinking of getting at least a few regular colors that are not available here. Like this orange, I know will move pretty much just around the Halloween season. I do sell a few of these throughout the year, but not as much as I'd like. But recently, I've had 2 inquiries about oranges and purples. So I don't know whether it is suggestion from sort of online content that's leading people more towards Halloween sort of colors already. So I've got a few oranges, and this is way too bright for what I usually offer. But with my Halloween collection, I think it'll go pretty well. What about bling? What's sort of bling, Deborah? Are you talking about like rhinestones and such, or are you talking about sequin fabrics? I haven't dabbled in rhinestones too much, but I know Wana from the Crafty Puerto Rican does some work with rhinestones. I'm looking at getting some lace ribbons also when I go there this time, because I know exactly where, at least 12 years ago, I know where the shops were. And these are sort of generational shops. So they're like in this little part of town that caters to a lot of wholesale stuff. And there are shops that specialize in trim and lace, there are shops that specialize in buttons. And the variety that you can get there is so fabulous. I work with, yeah, hot fixed rhinestones. So I'm thinking of picking up some lace as well. Anybody work with lace? Do any of you work with lace? Lace ribbons and such? I know I'm embroidered patch. So interesting to see how that goes. That does sound very interesting. Where do you guys pick up your thread from? The thread that goes onto your sewing machines. For those of you that sew, bows and bandanas. Yeah, I use a lot of it for bows as well. For me personally, my the thread that I use on my sewing machine, I picked up from Spotlight in the past. My overlocker thread I picked up online, and it's been going well. Echidna sewing. I love the Gutermann thread. Is that what it's called? Love the colors that they had there, but I find that so pricey. So what I did was last time I was. I'll show you. Give me 1 second. So the last time I actually picked out little boxes of thread like this. And what I love about the thread is that the insert, this little piece that the thread is rolled around, is not plastic, it's cardboard. I like the colors that Birch has, but it's very limited in options, and those inserts are plastic. I try as far as I can to sort of reduce my consumption of plastic. So the last time I went there, I also picked up like a whole box of thread. So it's got two of each shade, and it does have a lot of different shades that one would possibly use. Beautiful assortment of colors. And I picked this up, it was a really good price. So if you'd be interested in picking up something like that just as a base to work out of, I'm thinking of getting a few of those as well. Based in Brisbane. I usually buy my thread off of Amazon because I use Tex 70 for my industrial sewing machine. Oh, this one, the threads that the boxes that I've shown you, they're from a little store in India. This was actually from Goa when I went last time. I was so excited to find these. That being said, I still find that I have to go and color match some shades from Spotlight, but I guess that's okay. I was thinking of getting a few boxes like that. So if anyone's looking at starting off like a stash of thread, like their first assortment of colors, or having something on hand that will cover most of your color requirements, it would be a good place to start. So I've got a running list of things going, and I'm quite eager for my next trip actually. I am going to need a shipping container. The last time we came back with fabric, I tell you, it was a game of Tetris. We had two suitcases checked in, two pieces that was checked in, mine and my husband's, plus we had carry on luggage. Every little nook and cranny in those suitcases were full of fabric. What I did this time was I actually left a whole bunch of clothes that I'd taken to India, clothes and shoes, left them in our family home in Goa just to make more place for fabric. I think I went a little bonkers this time as well. Last time also was such a challenge, but I'm thinking next time I might send some fabric over by, I don't know, Korea or something. I did that this time as well. I did not have enough space, and it was not my regular Korea, the company that I usually send things with, because I was not in Bombay this time. But this person gave me a really good deal, promised that the stuff would get to me in X number of days. It did not. It took double the amount of time, and I had to chase around for a lot of for the tracking information and updates. But it did get to me eventually. I I knew that the fabrics that I needed quickly, I carried with me, and the ones that I didn't need too urgently, I kind of sent off in the courier, because though they said it was a courier company, I kind of had the feeling that it might take a little longer getting through customs and such. So I had two big boxes come in. I think I've shown you guys a haul of what I got this time as well. Shipping container, I don't know. I probably need part of one if I actually end up buying all of the fabric and such. But I will have to wait and see. I haven't really decided. Have to have a chat with the husband, see what he has to say. He's been after me to kind of start fabrics as well online forever. So I don't think he will take too much convincing. I just have to work out the logistics now. We got a lot of hand blocked, block printed, hand work, block printed fabric this time, cotton fabric. That's what one part of India is really, really popular for, its cottons and its block prints. Got some beautiful options, but there's actually a few types of fabrics that I haven't used so far. Very similar to, I think they call them the broderie anglaise. I'm not sure 100%, but very similar to that sort of fabric that I'm looking at introducing in my bow collection. So I will keep you guys updated. I'll probably do a little live video if I can from there. If not, I will definitely post on Instagram. So if you're interested in the fabric and the other bits and pieces like the thread, the lace, and such, make sure you're following along on Instagram as well, because YouTube will take a little bit of work in terms of an actual video. But I will look at I'll look at getting at least some bits and pieces this time around. Okay. My camera battery is flashing. So that means it's just got a few more minutes left. It's already been almost an hour and a half that we've been on live. So I will stay on as long as the battery holds up. But before I get cut off, I want to say thank you to all of you that have joined today. It's been so much fun. Does this time work for you guys for future live streams? I'm thinking of going live a little more frequently on YouTube. Is there a particular day that you prefer? Let me know. I'm thinking I'll do like a 9:30 like I did today, and we can all work together on a few different things. Now, all of the tubes, mostly all of these have been flipped inside out. I did too. I had a blast chatting with you guys. It's been really fun getting to know all of you. There's just this much left to go. We've managed to flip all of the fabric tubes, so that's good progress. Now, the next step will actually be sitting and putting the elastic through. I have a few orders to pack, so I will, once we get off here, I'll go and do that. If I manage to find a little time during the day, I'm not sure how the day will go, but if I manage to get a little extra time, I might pop back on live while I'm working with the elastic and see if any of you are on here. This time is okay for me. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. I'll see you really soon, maybe later today or possibly sometime tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, so we'll have to just wait and see how it goes. For the daytime lives, I'll probably be able to do that sometime next week because this week, right up to the end of the week, my husband works from home. They're switching locations at work, so he gets on calls and such. And it would be quite a clash kind of streaming live at the same time. But starting next week, they should be back to work at the new location. So I should have a little more time. So these morning streams should be possible starting next week. The evening ones I might be able to hop on another one sometime this week. So I will leave up a little post on the community section of YouTube and let you guys know when I'm planning the next one. And I'll see you all really, really soon. Again, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the live, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That way, more folks that enjoy this kind of content will see these posts and these videos. And I'll see you really soon in the next one. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for chatting. Thanks a lot for your inputs. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.